right, where'd you play golf at, Callum?
Where do I play golf?
Yeah.
At Bowood.
Bowood, okay.
Yes.
And how did you come across precision?
I got recommended to me by my coach. So he just said...
Who'd you work with?
I don't know if you know him, but Greg Hood.
Okay.
So they got Simon Shanks up there, he's kind of the main one.
Yeah.
Just started with Greg, so...
Yeah.
Sort of continued with him, so...
All right, perfect. And how much sort of golf are you typically playing?
I play every day, so...
Okay.
I play like national comps and then...
Yeah.
Played some in the Middle East as well, so...
Yeah, okay, cool. And then just in terms of today, what you're looking for from the fit? I mean, what are you
mostly
here for?
looking at a 3-wood.
Yeah.
I don't really tend to hit it in competitions.
Yeah.
And like sometimes like I played a national one, it was like par 5 where I kind of wanted to go for it in 2. But
Yeah.
I've only got, just trying to hit a stinger 2 iron as close to the green as I can.
Yeah.
I just be able to get through with that.
What's the reason? Is it just not confident
like
with it, or not getting the flight?
So like another one I hit it twice at played at Woburn, and it was
Yeah.
like 2 tee shots. One I might as well have hit a 2 iron because it would have gone as far as that.
Yeah.
And then the other one, like I've de-lofted a bit, it's gone about 280. So it's like
Yeah.
there's no real consistency between the spin and launch and stuff.
Okay.
But I'm fine with that, so I don't really have much confidence.
Okay, so it's just something really that you're able to put down, create the flight that you're after.
Yeah, just something.
What sort of window are you looking to sort of hit it into, distance-wise?
Probably about 260, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably around that.
Yeah. Driver, where are you sort of with that? You happy with that? Is that?
Yeah, it's fine. I got that in December, so.
Yeah.
It's just actually the ferrite was a bit loose, so I don't know.
Yeah, we should be able to do something on that for you today. We can just pop that back for you. That's quite a simple operation, but I'll keep it out just so we can hit it, just for the time being, get some numbers with it, because it gives me a bit of a reference point for me personally where I want to get the 3-wood to, just so it gaps. And then typically just go straight into the 2 iron from that then.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy with the 2 iron to be honest at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe just check it, see if there's any little tweaks.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah. All right, no problem. Well, I'll take some readings with these. I'll let you get moving.
Sure.
If you're going to hit wedges, if you don't mind going off the front mat just to start with.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, and then as we work back into sort of 6 irons, we'll hit off the this back mat here. And then when you're feeling warm, Callum, get the journey out of your bones. Let me know, and we'll start hitting some woods. Where you fit into the driver?
Yes. Up here as well.
Yep. And that's been good performer for you?
Oh yeah, so much better. I had the Sim 2 Max before.
Yeah.
The spin was like 4,000.
Okay. So yes.
Gained quite a lot of distance.
Yeah.
Got the irons up here as well at the same time. So. Got the irons as well at the same time up
Yep.
here, so they've been good.
And in terms of the 3-wood, obviously you've lowered the loft there.
Yeah.
Was that because you were seeing?
It was going so high before.
You were seeing too much flight with it, yeah. Is that? Would you typically describe yourself as a relatively high ball hitter? Yeah.
The 3-wood was kind of like extreme.
Yeah.
I was going so high.
Yeah. How's the game been recently, Callum?
It's been solid.
Yeah.
Like, apart from English Am, I've made every cut.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
English Am, they kind of cancelled round 2. Which
Yeah.
was annoying. So
Yeah.
I went out round 2 early, got the best weather, and I was like,
Right.
I might get 3. But
Yeah. Just
rest
one
has
of
been
those.
pretty good. It's
Yeah. And swing-wise, what are you sort of working on at the moment with coach?
Getting a bit inside with the hands, so trying to keep them more out in the backswing.
Yeah.
And then lower body's a bit quiet on the way through. So
Yeah. What sort of the typical shot shape that you're working towards?
it's usually a little draw is what I like to hit. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
Something like that, just on screen, pretty good. And
bad
same
one's-
with the
bad one's
woods,
kind of a pull and a toe shot. So.
toe-y and pull. Yeah. So with driver starts straight, or with the wood starts straight and goes, or does it start left and stay
Usually
straight?
starts straight and then goes. But
Yeah. Okay. All right. Ball-wise, what are you using at the moment?
Pro View 1 at the moment.
Okay. Cool. No injuries or anything to
No.
worry about?
No, I don't think I've ever had an injury. So that's all right.
Sorry?
Never had an injury, I don't think.
Well, touch wood, fingers
so.
crossed.
I do, yeah.
Stay that way.
A lot more injuries now in like younger golfers, I think.
Well, I think just because of the volume of balls and practice you guys got to do and the travel and everything combined, it's a 12-month season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now it used to be sort of kick things off in April and finish things off in September, and then you go back to a sort of a job, so to speak, in the pro shop or whatever, and then practice all winter and then get ready again for the new season. It's like now you can be in the amateur game, right? You could be off playing the other side of the planet if you want to do, go down.
Like people in the States, obviously, they play
all all year round. So I just think it's just volume of work. So a lot of the stuff you guys do in the gym now is almost kind of injury prevention and conditioning, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
All right, feeling good to go.
Yeah,
Let's get some numbers. Well, let's start with the driver just to get some baseline. Tee height wise, what do you tend to go with?
Which way is it to twist it up?
Yeah, you just twist it, yeah. Have a little look at that and I can go a bit further if needs be.
Oh yeah, a little bit more. A tiny bit more as well. Yeah, should be good.
All right, cool. Just as you've been doing, just straight down the line for me and we'll go from there. Would you say since you've gone into the new driver, ball flight's come down?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so it's 8-degree head.
Yeah.
I think the lowest I'd go on the other one was like 9.5 or something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and obviously with the spin
Yeah.
way less. So.
What have you found shape-wise with this so far?
Tends to be a draw again.
Yeah.
But like not a huge one.
Yeah.
Can't really get that, but yeah.
Quite subtle, brought the flight down, but you're happy with kind of where the height is of it as well?
Yeah, like recently it's been a bit lower, but
yeah.
I don't mind that because it's been pretty straight and it's still releasing obviously this time of year. So.
This time of year, yeah. Nice, let's go one more. Yeah, it looks in a really nice spot for you. Swing's really nice, time's really nice. Looks like you've got good control over face. Find the middle of it. Spin and launch is in a nice spot.
Left face in on that one.
Yeah. But again, everything's in a, I've just run it through the optimizer quickly. Again, everything's in a pretty good spot there. Callum spins a little bit on the low side, but you almost don't mind that because you can always tee it up a little bit and launch it a little bit more, if you need to. But everything looks in a good spot in terms of where you are compared to the optimal numbers. You bang on a little bit longer because of the lower spin. Again, that's kind of my preferred combo, the higher launch, lower spin. Peak height's good. Wants a little bit more on the ball speed just through strike, that's all it is really. But yeah, it looks like it's in a really good spot for you, but it's just good for me to see where driver is because now I can reference with Freewood. Probably want Freewood to be totaling out at 270, 265 to 270 totaling, but that's in here based on what we're seeing. Out on the golf course you might find a little bit more, but just based on apples for apples, I want the total distance to be around where carry distance is basically for driver.
Yeah, right.
So there or thereabouts, that's quite nice to now see where that is, and that's, as you can see, really consistent. Again, really nice set of numbers there, higher launch, lower spin, so that's in a really nice spot.
Yeah, it's been good the whole year, so.
Don't think we need to do much with that per se. Haven't got any magical shafts that I can give you the extra missing ingredient, which there isn't much missing ingredients there, to be honest with you, so I think that's good to go. So it gives me a nice reference point for Freewood though. So, but let's hit yours just so I can see it swing and I can see what you're sort of talking about. And then I'll start putting something together for you.
On the left one.
Do you see that one where you lose it outright a little bit, or not?
This club's just been consistent with of everything.
You see a bit of both.
Yeah. It's kind of why I don't tend to hit it because I don't really
Just don't trust it.
Which way it's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah, see that one's just come out like a rocket. 12.7 and 2,000 on the spin. It's lower than driver like, to be honest with you, but obviously off the fairway you want something which you can stop at the end. Well, have a bit more control at the back end of the flight, right? If you're going to try and flight into par fives, etc., you want a bit more flight than that.
And like when I play in the Middle East, it's like even like exaggerated.
Yeah.
But I've like 290, I'll be hitting the 3-wood in there.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I got like 40 yards short, and then sometimes it just come out like an absolute missile.
Yeah, and I think for me, when I'm fitting fairway wood, I want to give the player an element of control where, I mean, you're a good driver of the golf ball from the looks of it, but for somebody if you're going to be pulling freewood out, you want to, it's a safety shot, right? You
Yeah.
want to be hitting the fairway with it. So an element of a bit more spin, a bit more launch is a good way of doing it.
There was one hole I played, it's like a fern down.
Yeah.
They're kind of drivable, but like, it kind of narrows up. And it was like, you can either do 250 carry over a bunker, which my 2-iron can't do.
Yeah.
So I was having to take the 5-iron off the tee.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
yeah.
like some people in 3-woods and having like little pitches to the green. Like,
yeah, so you're just missing
wanted
that.
to do that rather than have like a 90-yard shot in. So.
Yeah. And the problem with that one is it's a little bit too hot, where it's getting almost a little bit too close to the driver, where you'd be just as well trying to ease off on a driver to a certain extent, if that makes sense.
That's kind of what we're doing.
Exactly. So, you know, it's a case of we want something that just fills the slot nicely. So probably for me, I'm looking for off the deck anyway, around 3,000 RPMs a spin. 13 degrees of launch would be a nice soft flight. And then when you tee it up, just because you move the strike up the face, that tends to then lower the spin because you're hitting it above the center of gravity. So then you might lose maybe 250, 300 RPMs a spin, get it to about 2.7, and then it's a slightly hotter flight off the tee. Bit more launch, lower spin basically is what we'd be aiming for. But yeah, I mean, kind of makes sense, I think, to probably looking at a couple of the Titleist heads just to start with. Purely just because obviously you're in the driver, so visually it will match you where you are. But TSR2, TSR3, both really good heads. The 3 slightly lower spin, a bit more compact. The 2 creates a little bit more launch, slightly bigger footprint. So I think between those two, and I think we'll cycle through some shafts, see how it is. I might just get you to hit just a couple with 2-iron, just so I can see where that is, and then I'll start putting something together. No, let's go one more. I'll get rid of him. That's a better one. So yeah, it's definitely on the lower side of flight, isn't it, as you'd sort of expect from a 17-degree 2-iron. But I guess it's fit for purpose based on...
It's kind of just what I use in summer.
Yeah.
Kind of gets me around.
Yeah.
Played quite a bit of links golf early on as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's, again, fit for purpose. Potentially might be worth looking at hybrid / 5-wood potentially once you've got the 3-wood nailed down, just as an alternative, just to give you something else to look at. Just if, you know, when you're playing out in the Middle East or over in the US, for example, just something with a bit more flight to it might be a bit more versatile for you. But let me grab a couple of shafts and a couple of heads. We'll start looking at the 3-wood, and then once we've nailed that down, then we can have a bit of a discussion on whether there's something else there maybe around that sort of loft of 17, 18, which you may find, you know, a bit more versatile. All right, got a couple to test here, but I'll put together the first one that I had in mind, watching you, using a little bit of what we've seen here with the Ventus blue TR that you've got. Just going to go into the blue profile to start with, which is a little bit softer. Basically, TR is a little bit of a combination of the black and the blue, whereas the blue is just sort of mid-launch, mid-spin. Nice fairway wood shaft. Might be perfect just to try and help with a bit of launch. I'm going to go over a little bit more loft. Obviously, you've got your existing Taylormade 15 degrees, but in the lower setting, which opens face angle as well, because obviously what was quite different, or definitely visually there, was how you lost a few more of the 3-woods out to the right-hand side, as opposed to, you know, had nice little soft draws with the driver. So, I mean, I'd like to try and replicate that sort of shape for you, so we have a bit of consistency. So by just getting a head that just sits nice and square for you, hopefully you don't have that one that leaks out quite so much. You don't have to be quite so good with it. The Rogue that you've got in here, obviously you've got it in X as well. It's pretty heavy duty. So
you had a different shaft in there before.
Right. This is one that you've just...
Yeah, it's like a tensile red or something.
Okay.
But that was too spinny, so then I just got that.
Put this in to sort of kill a bit of spin. Yeah. Which is, you know, it's probably...
Like,
it has.
Too much, maybe.
It's made it a little bit more difficult for you as well, I think. So yeah, just something... Matching in with sort of the specs of what we've got here in terms of balance and weight, I think just to start with will be a good start. Give me a good glimpse of what the club can do, and then I can kind of move balance and weight around with just some other options that I've got there as well. So I think I'm going to start, just to start with the TSR2 in 15 degrees, I think, just to start with. How's Bowood at the moment?
It's not too bad, they just punched the greens though.
Oh, are they going into maintenance?
So like a few events, they had a Clutch Pro Tour.
Yeah.
And then like PJ Championship there. So it played pretty well for them.
Good condition for that.
Yeah. The greens historically haven't been that great, but this year they kind of made a quite big difference. So
Yeah.
It's quite nice, yeah.
Tournament-wise, what have you got coming up?
Well, I had quite a busy summer, so like, I think I got one at Burnham. That's pretty much the end for like the UK.
Okay.
And I might play something like Abu Dhabi and stuff.
Yeah.
So, played the Amateur Championship. That was at Hillside in Southport.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. So
Yeah.
got through the cut there and then knocked out first round match play.
Okay.
Open qualifying, got through that to final qualifying.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal, fourth call, but
Yeah. Well, even the guys in the senior major found it pretty difficult over there this year. So.
Like practice round is like 40-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah.
Raining, I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
They get like the second hole, I've hit like driver 2-iron pitch and wedge in the practice round, and then I've gone like driver lob wedge in the actual thing. Slightly different.
Yeah. Links golf for you, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice though. It's like totally different to what I usually play. So.
Mhm.
Like Hillside, that was probably the best one.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I grew up playing my golf, actually, in the northwest originally. So
Yeah.
my sort of first exposure
Golf
to it.
haven over there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. To be honest with you, it's got some great tracks in that part of the world. Just going to add a little bit of lead tape to this one to get it to where I want it to. Aiming for around D2, so your driver's at D3. It's going to go to D2 just to start with head weight wise. See how that swings for you. Yeah, some great tracks up there in the Southport area. I mean, obviously you got
It's all in
next.
a row as well. Though.
That's it. Yeah.
And then Birkdale.
Well, it's just great terrain for it, you know. Tell me what you think of this head. So this is the 2. Obviously they've got 2 different heads. Well, they've got 3 actually. They've got the 1, the 2, and the 3 in the TSR series. But you tell me what you prefer out of these 2, and I'll put them together for you. So that's the first one. So TSR2. Just going to load it in here for you quickly.
Yeah, no, that was the thing. The thing was if the improvement and the feel was good enough to justify the extra cost.
I've just got that in. What would be the equivalent to the A1 setting, like what you've got in the driver? Okay, cool, good to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've watched videos on YouTube sort of thing of the 40 golf clubs. Yeah. I go down in rabbit holes. Making the massive.
I mean, that felt way better off the face. But
I think feedback-wise, you'll get a little bit more feel through that Ventus Blue Series. And to be honest, the contact was good there. You just left the face a little bit open, so hence the launch and spinner up. But if you square that face to path up, then this will definitely drop down into where we want it. I think 13 and 2.9 to 3,000 would be a really nice spot for you. Good ball speed. Spinny.
wasn't quite as middled as the other one, I don't think.
Just a bit low on the face, yeah. Bit low contact, just kick the spin up there. That was nice. That's kind of the one I was looking for.
Bit more
there,
what I'm looking for, yeah.
Yeah, you've squared it up nicely there. Good combination of path and face to path. Dynamic loft at 15, which is nice. 12.9 and 3.3. So I think if we continue with this setup and I continue to see the spin and the launch there, then I'd probably be inclined to go into the TSR3.
Yeah.
Because it's a slightly lower launch and spin head, a bit more compact for you. But I just wanted to start with this one because out of the three models that they do, or the two that we're looking at, it's the more forgiving of the two.
Yeah.
So just to see how you felt about this shape of head to start with. Another good swing there. Yeah, it's maybe just a fraction high on the spin. Two ways around that. We could get, I've got you in the 7S there. We could go into the 7X, which would take a little bit off of it. Or we could potentially knock loft off of it a little bit. Or again, you got the option to go into the 3, which would knock a little bit off it. But what's your thoughts on that so far?
Quite like the head, just like the shape and just the feel of it.
Yeah.
It feels just pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the M5, if I'd like slightly mishit it, it just feels so strange.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'd give the TSR series is across the faces, driver, fairway woods and the hybrids really strong. Since they've come out, the retention of ball speed's been very impressive.
Just feels easier than the M5.
Yeah, a bit more. CG's a little bit more forwards on the Taylormade.
Yeah.
So again, when you get it, you'll get that really hot one, quite low spin, but it also makes it a little below MOI, so a little less forgiving across the face.
Yeah.
But let's see one more because the last two swings have been great and the numbers have been kind of where we want them, but there's a little bit more to be had, I think.
Bit necky, I think.
Popped up again, that one. Yeah, just a little bit low heel, spin just kicked up on it. Yeah, let's go one more. Good swing again. Yeah, so those three swings that you put in there, the data's, as I say, been in a nice spot. Maybe just like to take maybe 300-400 RPMs off of it, potentially, just to give you a little bit more penetration. But again, if I throw them into the optimizer, I don't necessarily use the optimizer tool here as a reference for launch and spin, because I feel like the modern day fairway wood tends to launch a bit higher and spin a little less than maybe what the optimizer is asking for, but I use it as a reference for how far we should be carrying it. And you can see there you pretty much bang on at 252, 251. So we're getting the most out of it, but I would potentially just like to see that launch and spin maybe just drop a fraction. Peak height's still on the high side there, so we're definitely in the high trajectory category, but I think maybe for you to use it off the tee as well, I wouldn't mind dropping that down, see if we can get that to maybe about 100 feet potentially. I think that would be quite nice then. Something that you can still hit off the deck, still feels nice and comfortable off the deck, but when you do tee it up, you can flatten the flight off a little bit if you need to. So let me just, same shaft, let me just throw on the TSR3 head. I did bring the 16.5 heads here as well, but I don't think I'm going to need those based on what I've seen
Yeah,
there, so.
probably not. I think that M5 is pretty old though, like compared to the rest of the bag, because I didn't really hit it much. Then when it came out, like 2019 was it?
M series, no, it would have been around about then, if not before, because obviously COVID sort of got in the way of a few different releases. But yeah, obviously Taylormade, they've had Stealth and then 2 sets of Sims.
Yeah.
Sim and then Sim 2. So they're what they are 2 years or 18 months pretty much between them. So yeah, you're probably looking at
Yeah, so it's probably about 5 then. It's
Okay.
like a bit different.
Yeah, so, yeah, slightly different speed and strike being put through the ball.
Yeah.
So you quite like the shape of that head.
Yeah,
It'd be
looks
interesting to see what you think of this one. It is a little bit more compact. Just going to move that central weight into neutral as well. Just to see. D1.2, so I'm just going to add a little bit of lead tape just to get it to D2 again. How did that one feel balance-wise?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
one,
It
yeah.
felt good, yeah.
What's sort of the plan moving into next season?
I'm on a gap here at the moment
Yeah.
because I started golf quite late, so it's like it's kind of first year I've given comps a go.
Okay.
So I think we're going to take another gap here,
Yeah.
see how that goes.
Keep on working on the game
Yeah.
and see what you can get out
I've
next
been pretty
season.
good this year, so hopefully keep it going.
So the only thing I've really changed here, I've still got 15 degrees A1 setting, but I've just gone into the TSR head. Sorry, TSR3 head, I should say. Other than that, shaft the same. I've got it to D2 as a swing weight, so it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's, all we're really testing here is the difference in head for you. All right, see how we go.
Maybe a bit low on the
Yeah,
face.
just cut up a little bit, yeah. See there by the smashes down a little bit, so it wasn't your sweetest of strikes, that one. Better. That's a nice contact. That's a nice move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's better.
Nice and neutral, face to path, club path good, angle of attack slightly down on it, control the dynamic loft. Again, spin's still up a little bit because you do hit down on it, you're always going to create a little bit of spin, but we don't mind that with this golf club. Like I said at the start, you know, I don't want to create something which is right up the back end of the driver because it loses a little bit of its versatility. I mean, what we want is something that you can at least fly and pitch into greens and stop it if you need to.
Yeah.
And then something which, when you do tee it up and we get it a little bit high off the face and we get that lower spin, it sort of drops it down, makes it a bit hotter. Probably, if anything, because of the spin there, it's maybe not quite as long as what we'd want it, although I did say
It's about 270.
265, 270 is where we want to be, but yeah, again, that number there is maybe just a fraction on the high side. So that's telling me that maybe we need to just go into the X in this profile. Fraction heavy again.
It's not the best strike.
Balance and weight of shaft looks comfortable though.
Yeah, it feels pretty normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're obviously used to it with the driver. Better contact again. Good ball speed. Yeah. It's nice again. It's in a good spot.
Yeah, that one was nice.
How's that head look and feel compared to the two?
It doesn't really look too much different, to be honest. Even though it said it's slightly more compact,
Yeah.
it still feels like it looks kind of forgiving to me, to
Yeah.
be honest. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just
Feel
feels
like you
the
could
same.
probably play either of them.
Yeah.
Face just a fraction open, but it's not. Yeah, still a bit low on the contact as well. Spin kicked up.
Is that long drive? Oh no, I follow his yeah, I follow his thing. Yeah. Yeah,
Bit left.
Bit left, yeah. Just a bit of a compensation to the previous one, I think. Let's go one more.
A bit low on the face again.
Yeah. But still hasn't, it's performed quite nicely for that strike there. Contact's pretty nice. Two was a little bit more concentrated actually. You sort of look at yours was actually a little bit higher off the face, which is quite interesting. But pretty good with the Titleist, both of the Titleists so far. And just throwing them in against each other. Just take the drive out. So I mean, this is your existing one, which has created a couple of, they're obviously
Rockets,
very long, but the problem is they're sort of runaway trains. They've got driver-like spin. Again, if I sort of expand out and I kind of look at those two shots that you've got there, I mean, one at 2.6 spin and one at 2,000 spin, it's just not going to stop at the end of its flight. It's just going to keep on going. So great as a backup off the tee, but even then, it's probably even a little bit too close to where driver is, to be honest.
Even at my clubs, like the par 5 is quite shallow greens, and then like they're guarded by bunkers. So it's a couple of times like pitched it, it's gone so far over the back.
Yeah,
which obviously is not ideal.
No, you look at most of the guys on tour, and they're all defaulting back to a little bit more loft on their fairway woods. Dustin Johnson's played sort of that HL head now for years and years, and most of them want more loft so they can flight it rather than going the other way where they're turning it into a strong club. But you can just see it's a bit more consistent with the two Titleist heads. Just these ones into here. Still losing a few out to the right, and that one was just a bit of a compensatory out left. But I mean, it's fairway wood off the deck, so I don't expect you to be, peppering this middle line necessarily. It's a tough shot to pull off over and over again. But any preference on the two heads? So far?
Not very. Kind of equal, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really have a preference.
So I mean, obviously the two slightly more forgiving because of the deeper profile front to back, so higher MOI. With that will come a little bit more spin technically, and then the 3 is designed to try and take a little bit of that off. You don't have any problem hitting the 3 as well, so I'd probably be inclined to move forward with the 3. Because it's a little bit more in the ilk of obviously what you've got in the driver, the TSR3 and the driver as well. But I just want to have a little bit of a play just with shaft, just to see if I can just get those numbers down to exactly where I want it. So we've got a Ventus TR7X there as well. So I think we're throwing that in just to start with, just before I visit any of these other shafts, because I think obviously you're used to the Ventus range, the profile. It's performed quite nicely so far, but I just want to try and see if I can get that spin into the window that I'm after. So at the moment it's 3.7 with the 2, and then slightly lower, as we'd expect with the TSR3 at 3.4, but I'd like to just maybe nip for about 400 RPMs off of that if I can do. So I'm just going to grab the TR7X. So when you say you took it up relatively late, how long have you been playing for?
Started in 2017.
Yeah.
So didn't go on the course for the first year, so that was a bit strange.
Okay.
I feel like an academy course, so
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of wedges and putting.
Okay.
Putting turned out to be pretty bad at the start, but wedges have always been.
You got the
pretty
bug,
good.
and the rest is history.
I live like 3 minutes away, so it's
Okay. So
pretty
you've been able
ideal.
to get in there and. Okay, so that's just the Ventus Blue TR. So what you've got in the driver there, 7X. So just a little bit stiffer in terms of the actual base profile, and then obviously tip sections are a little bit firmer being the X as well. So have a little go with that. How's that feeling? Couple of swings in.
Feeling a bit harder work, I'd say. Not
Yeah,
quite
just visually
timing
looks
it
a
up.
little bit harder work as well. It doesn't look like it's quite as easy for you to square up, and
Yeah,
doesn't look like the shaft is necessarily working.
doesn't feel like I
underneath,
can release it as well.
and the head isn't naturally being released by the
Yeah.
shaft quite so much. So it just looks like it's maybe just a step too far. Whereas with the driver, it's different when you've got it teed up and you're hitting up on it,
Yeah,
because we do have a slight downwards angle of attack and we're squeezing it a bit more with the fairway wood. We do need the shaft to work the loft underneath a little bit more and help us, and that's where I just think maybe it's worth seeing, but I just think maybe the TR version of this might be a little bit too hard work for you. Did a good job there though. But I think what, you know, again, it hasn't necessarily influenced, it's brought the launch down a little bit, but it hasn't brought the spin down per se.
yeah,
But it looked like you had to work that to get that result there.
yeah. I mean,
That
that's
makes
like 1 out of 4.
Yeah, yeah.
It's turned out pretty much the same as the other ones. So
Yeah, the others didn't look like poor swings, but it just looked like the shaft didn't want to work underneath and you were losing it outright. That one there, it looked like you worked it a bit harder, but that's not necessarily what we want. I don't want to have a free wood that you constantly have to step onto to get the most out of it.
yeah.
You know, so I'd probably be inclined, I'll take that out. All right. All right, so let's try some slightly different profiles. I'm going to go into another Fujikura. This one's the Motore X 7S. It's the F3 version, so they've got F1, which is typically a little bit lower launch, lower spin, and they've got the F3, which is a little bit more mid-mid. So typically the 3, I find slightly better fairway wood profile.
Yeah.
Again, just for the time being, I'm going to try and keep it at D2, so that's coming out D2.5, that's really nice. Same length, 43 inches, see what you think of that one. Subtly different to the Ventus range. Just bear with 2 seconds. So again, got it in 15 degrees A1 setting again, haven't changed anything in the hosel. Haven't changed anything in the bottom weight there as well. It's still in neutral, so good to go. Let's see what you think of this one. It's a nice move. That's the spin I'm after there. It's just taking a fraction off of it. 3,000.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Didn't seem like you got all of that, but it's actually been a decent result there for you.
Yeah, I didn't feel the best off the face, that one. But
Yeah, it dropped a bit of smash, but again, it shows sort of the forgiveness of those heads there as well.
Going by the strikes I've had, that's right over everything.
Just a face on that one. All good. Few swings in, how does it feel versus the Ventus?
it feels slightly harder work than the
The blue?
7S one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just feels a bit heavier for some reason.
yeah.
I don't know if it is, but
Yeah, it is. Just in terms of balance, I mean, it's not much. It's basically taken the swing weight from D2 to D2.5, so it's not masses,
Yeah.
but for better players, you guys do pick up on things like balance quite quickly. So let's go one more for me. I mean, the ones that keep me interested is the second strike.
yeah,
The numbers
a
are
good
really
one.
good. So well hit. Yeah, I don't think it has quite as much flow to it as what just the standard Ventus Blue did.
Yeah.
I think you just got into the rhythm with the Ventus Blue a little bit quicker. It looked a bit more comfortable.
Like straight off the first hit, the blue felt good.
Yeah.
This one just feels a bit.
Last two felt a bit more hard work for you. Okay. Thank you. Gonna move away from the Fujikuras, put you into something else here. So it's gonna be a graphite design. These are all sort of there or thereabouts in terms of the weighting.
Where I like to grip down on it as well, would you keep the shafts the same length? Or does it?
So graphite design, IZ series. 7S. There we go. See what you think of that one. It is a little bit heavier in terms of balance, this one again.
Yeah.
So it's sort of sitting between, I guess it sits between all those three profiles that I've given you so far. I've dropped that little bit of head weight off of it because it's not required here. Just the standard Titleist head weight would be in a good spot for you.
Oh, because I've got the
Left.
so it's probably where I incorrectly gripped it beforehand and then used the grip.
Again, just looks like it takes a little bit more work getting it through the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being that slightly more tip balanced. It doesn't look like it comes through quite as well for you.
Yeah, it still feels similar to the last two we tried.
Yeah,
I feel like them.
Yeah, so I think for you it's showing that as soon as you go a little bit more tip balanced, it just looks a little bit more hard work. So I've got to try and keep that balance up a little bit for you. Thank you. What it basically produces is because it comes through a little bit late, it makes the contact low on the face, so it also kicks your spin up a little bit. And then I think because it doesn't look and feel like it's coming through, it's a bit more on the right hip there. What you then do is you'll get this one where you'll flip it. That's where the left comes from basically, because it feels a bit trapped, and then you flip it with your right hand. So let me get rid of him. Actually, get rid of him as well. Be interested to try this one with you. So part of the TPT range, 17 high, so about 72 grams. Again, very much mid balance point to it. Yeah, we'll give it a rip. If not, I think we're probably pretty settled on the Ventus Blue being in a nice spot for you, and then we can just see if there's anything in a couple of the different heads maybe offers us something slightly different to the Titleist. It's bang on D2, so that's quite a nice weight for you. Be interested to see that one. All right, good to go. All the other parameters the same again. 15 degrees, A1 setting, 43 inches, D2 swing weight. Marginally spinny because of the contact. fraction low, but other than that, that moved really nicely through there. Face a fraction open there.
Slightly open with the face, but.
Nice move again there. Again, you just close the face down ever so slightly there, so taking a bit of spin off of it. How's that one feeling so far?
Feels closer to the
original Ventus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite like even off the first hit. Felt pretty good. So.
Yeah. Pretty good.
I mean, I'm happy having like one in the bag, but having one switch out, even if it's
A bit stuck behind you, that one.
Yeah, it was a bit stuck.
All right.
okay, yeah, no, too much.
It's the beauty of simulator golf. Just take them out.
Yeah, no, when I tried the T100,
It's nice again. If anything, it's just taken a fraction of spin off the flight for you. So it's probably about 300 to 400 RPMs lower than where the Ventus Blue was so far. Having said that, there's a couple of swings in there where you've been a little bit shallower with your angle of attack.
Okay. Yeah.
Whether that's just the particular swings that you put on the ball there, or whether that's a result of club, hard to say until I put the Ventus back in again and see you move it again. But angle of attack, you did get to sort of -3, -3.5 with the Blue.
Yeah.
That's definitely shallower, but you were still maintaining the same loft, so naturally your spin loft's going to be a bit lower, and therefore you're going to create a little less spin on the ball. So it's just whether the lower angle of attack is a result of shaft, or whether you've just changed something in technique there to be a bit shallower. But that's a nice combination, which is resulting in that spin basically. A bit pulled.
Bit left.
Maybe add a fraction of head weight to it. Good swing, that one.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, I mean that. So their angle of attack's gone back to 3 there, and it's definitely spinning a little less for you.
Yeah, there's the middle one and that one, probably the best 2 strikes.
That one there, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one, they felt like
Yeah.
the strikes I was hitting with the Blue.
Yeah. And that's
Obviously they
sort of the
come down
the
with the
difference
spin.
there. Yeah. Nice and concentrated. A little bit more toe side actually, which again will knock a little bit of spin off of it compared to the original Ventus, which is a bit more centred, a fraction low, 3 mils low versus 2 mils. It's not much in it, but a little bit more toe side with the TPT so far. But I think I want to just throw the Ventus Blue back in again. I think that's the closest to it. Don't know if you have any preference between the 2 shafts there.
Well, that one's felt better.
Yeah.
But this one's produced better spin rates.
Yeah, marginal, but I'd be interested just to see, because it could be just a bit of a slight change in technique. Having hit 30 or 43 woods now, you might just be, okay, this is where I want to be with it. So let me Choose this for you.
And I've been hitting the M5, trying to hit that quite far down on it before. Obviously trying to stop the spin that I had.
Yeah.
I was getting. So
You mean in terms of hitting down on it to create a bit more?
So maybe after hitting a few different 3-woods, it's kind of changed my.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want you diving. Ideally, probably wouldn't want you diving any more down than sort of 2.5.
Yeah.
3 is starting to get a little bit too much down on it, and you might lose it a little bit right and spin it a bit. -2 is probably the sweet spot for me, where you're going to find a nice combination of launch and spin, I would say. I mean, if we settled on the Ventus Blue, if you liked how responsive it was, you might not want to go into the 7X, you might want to stay in the S. At which point, because the Sure Fit sleeve is quite dynamic, we have the ability to knock a bit of loft off via that without changing face angle. I'd probably be inclined to go that route with you, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Speed-wise, you're on the edge of S and X. I mean, obviously you've got the 6S there in the TR, so I'd probably be inclined to stick in the S here. As I say, just change the loft setting ever so slightly, knock a bit off, so maybe get it to 14.25. And we could potentially tip it maybe a fraction more for you as well.
Thank you.
All right, back into the Ventus, the standard Ventus Blue, this one, 7S. Just for a second hit, just to see, because now you've got a good reference against the TPT. Here we go. All right, good to go. Because of the contact and being a bit shallower there as you spin, you see. So, yeah, I think during the session you've started to move it a bit better because you're moving away from the way you have to move the M5 to try and get that one to work to you. Now you're sort of, as better players do, you're starting to mould your technique a little bit around the golf club to make it optimal. So, yeah, that's a bit more where we want it. A little bit low on the head, that one. A little bit looser second time round.
Yeah.
Compared to the TPT. What are your thoughts on it? Just a couple of less than perfect swings?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, it kind of feels similar to the TPT. No, doesn't like it's quite extreme between this and the X.
Yeah.
I felt, but
the other two profiles are pretty close together.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit easier than the Motore as well.
Bit a few more.
Yeah, I think that was just face to path there, open. Contact a little bit low on the face as well. It's just kick the spin up and we've lost it right. But bit shallower, slightly better again. Wasn't quite the contact we wanted.
Bit toe, I think.
Yeah, a little bit toey. a nice flight.
A strike.
Yeah.
Left.
Okay, and then let me, again, just quickly throw this TPT back in just to have another look at it. Thank you. Just hit them side by side quickly so you get a bit of a feel for them both. Obviously we've hit more with the original Ventus blue. That's pretty much where we are at the moment. Take the TSR2 head out because we're trying the 3. Similar sort of spread really. Distance is pretty similar between the both of them as well. Again, I'll almost be led a little bit by the player here in terms of what you're picking up on, what you prefer between the two of them. Obviously, you're coming from another Ventus product, so you might prefer to just keep the feel the same.
Didn't feel as good as when I first hit that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a little bit more warmed up now. You're moving it a little bit quicker, so I think that's where potentially we would look to. You could go into that profile into the X.
Yeah.
Just to tighten it up a little bit for you. Because I say, obviously, the difference in those two profiles, this is definitely a little bit firmer, the TR as a profile, as you found with hitting the 7X TR. Slightly softer profile, we could just go into the 7X in that. That's the TPT again.
Thank you. Didn't quite hit that.
Decent result though. A little bit low on the head, but again, it does square up really nicely for you, that I have to say. Just marginally low, so the spin sort of stayed at 3.6 there. But I mean, apart from, you know, if I take out the wide left there, which was just a bit of a reaction, probably the tightest of the dispersions so far.
Well, those last two swings well have been pretty close together.
Yeah, I mean that one there, slightly different strike, 2.6, and then 3.6, just the nature of the beast a little bit. But dispersion is still pretty tight with it. Slightly lower base weight on this one, so maybe just helping you square it up a bit more. Yeah. What's your thoughts going back into it?
Starting to lean more towards this one. Just the consistency.
Yeah, I think it's just the dispersion. I think it's just the consistency of the strike with it and the dispersion. For me, is probably preferable between the two, I would say, so far. Could have just been a couple of loose swings with the Ventus, but if I start throwing it out, you can see definitely the ring is a little bit tighter there with the TPT over the course of the whole group. And even if I take out that one there, like I did with the TPT, just to keep things equal, still just that little bit tighter, and front to back dispersion's a little bit better as well.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, keeping the spin where we want to keep it, we could potentially just drop it down, so into that D1 setting.
Yeah, we can try that.
Just to try and take a little bit off of it.
It's kind of at like 3.5 at the moment, isn't it?
Sorry?
So like 3.5 at the moment, kind of the spin with that.
On the average, 3.2 it's come out of that. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit of a combination of, as I say, if you tee it up and we get the strike slightly half the face, that'll take a bit of spin off of it anyway. And if you're slightly shallower with it, you know, here, then you'll find slightly better spin number with it. But we could probably still nip a little bit of loft off of it,
Yeah.
I think. Okay, see what you think of that. So that's be the equivalent of the D1 setting there. All right, good to go. Dispersion, it's definitely a little bit tighter.
Yeah, like the last
Isn't
5 swings have all been so much better.
Yeah, I think just the base weight of the shaft being a little bit lighter, you're finding it a bit easier to square up.
Bit early.
I think your spin with this setup here is a little bit more likely to go up rather than to go down and lose too much spin, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I would be inclined to, with the setting, potentially go into that D1 setting there. If we, you know, within the Titleist setup, that's in quite a nice spot for you.
Yeah, it's been good. Like the dispersion's tightened up quite a bit.
It has, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just strike dependent, right? I mean, that one there just a bit low on the face, it's kicked up a little bit, and that one there is a bit more toe side, so it's come out a little bit hotter, but there's none of the big sprays.
No.
And with that shaft, we don't seem to have the rightness in it.
Yeah.
So, which I quite like it, which means it's just squaring up for you very nicely. Ball speed's in a good spot with it. Yeah, it looks pretty good, that. So I think that would be one to beat. Let me go and grab a couple of the other heads off the rack, just to try and compare against it, see what you think. But that would be sort of ready to rock and roll straight away. See if I've got anything that can beat it, basically.
It's probably the best strike of them all, that one.
Okay.
I just hit.
That looks pretty good to go.
Yeah.
Quite like where that is, Callum. Some other versions here for you. Just to start with, I'll go into the Stealth 2 Plus to start with.
Yeah.
I'll set it up pretty neutral again for you. Again, titanium elements to this. I'll set it up at 15 degrees just to start with. If we need to knock it down, we can do, but the Taylormades are slightly different in that when you open and when you subtract or add loft, you open and close the face, so slightly different to the short. But they have got this movable track this year, which allows you to move the centre of gravity forwards or backwards depending on what you want to do with the spin. I'm going to put it into sort of its neutral setting here. So it's not all the way back. But if you needed to, if you were going somewhere, let's say if you were going to go play links golf and you did want to take a bit of spin off of it, potentially you could knock the CG forwards on this. Generally comes out a little bit heavier as a head, which it has there as well. So again, in the final build, if we wanted to try and get it to D2, D2.5, which is where we've been at, we'd maybe just nip a little bit off the length to get there. 2 seconds, just going to put it in. So, all right, good to go.
Right.
Yeah, this is where I think just going into the slightly higher swing weight might be inclined to maybe lose it a little bit to the right.
Bit toey.
If you wouldn't mind, just come down the grip just a fraction for me. That'll just offset the swing weight a little bit. I just want to see if that enables you to square it up a little bit more, because we've lost those fraction right so far. How does it feel compared to the Titleist?
A bit harder work.
Yeah, yeah. I think
really
swing weight's up a little bit. It's just below D4 this, so it's playing about 3.5 grams heavier.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a huge amount.
Just like where the head is.
Sorry?
Trying to where the head is, I can't really feel it as well as the.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of throwing off the shaft a little bit as well. Again, we could kind of get around that a little bit, but it's not like the Titleist where we can just get it to your exact spec off of the standard head weight straight away, which is just nice and easy to work with. So, okay. Also, you're coming from a TSR driver, so it might be nice if you could try and keep things.
The tack angle's gone a bit more down on those as well.
Yeah, cause it's just on your right hip, it's a little bit more down behind you. Okay, let's go with the Callaway ParaDyms, just a standard ParaDym here to start with. So did you say you're going to get away in the autumn and winter?
I think so, yeah. My dad works in Qatar, so
okay.
Take quite a bit out of there.
Yeah. Got plenty of, well, they seem to have plenty of events over there to play as well nowadays.
Yeah, there's quite a bit actually. You know, I was looking at Wagga stuff.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit around like the UAE.
Okay.
So maybe try some of that.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's trying to keep your hand in all year round. You know, it's nice going away and just practicing for a block period, but ultimately it's the competitive golf and keeping yourself sharp, which is going to make the difference. I think when you get back round to the UK season and playing in the big championships again, you want to know how it feels to have a card in hand. So that's the ParaDym, Callaway ParaDym. Again, just set at 15 degrees for you. Slightly shallower looking head to the Callaway this year.
Yeah. Does look a bit different to the Titleist.
Yeah. Say footprint, maybe closer to the TSR2 rather than the 3 of the two. They do have a triple diamond head as well, which they've got here, but this is just the stock one. So this probably has a little bit more resemblance to the TSR2 than the 3, I would say. But let's have a little look at how it performs for you. No problems here. We're getting to the swing weight, so lighter head.
What this does really well, when not middle, the spinning consistency is really good. Second one wasn't, but basically they can say not so much for a little bit out of it, so that's why I didn't let it spin. So not
Sounded good.
Better strike, I think.
Interesting spins one again. That was a good swing. Sounded like a really good contact. Again, you can see going back into the desired swing weight D2, start a lot easier for you to square up straight away. As soon as we got 3-4 grams heavier, a bit more hard work, couldn't quite square it up. So I think we're definitely in the right area for swing weight as well.
Wasn't hit, but
Yeah. Right, take him out. What's your thoughts on that so far in comparison?
the one I hit well felt good, but obviously the distance was
Spin
a bit.
was still up a little bit. Yeah, that one there. Well, in terms of a line, you know, those two there, great lines, but again, 3-4 and 3-7 spins a little bit on the high side based on that model.
Low.
And if anything, it seems to, on the lower contact, it seems to have a little bit more spin than where the TSR2 is as well, I'd say.
That one was quite far at the bottom, but
Yeah, yeah, it's kicked it up. Let's go one more with it. Sounded good. Yeah, nice. Probably the best of the bunch, that one there.
yeah, I think so.
But again, the swing was good, you know, slightly shallower, a little bit closed, dynamic loft at 14.8. It was a good swing as well. So it's a good. That's a good reflection of the club there. Enough to knock the TSR3 out, or?
Hit another one.
Yeah, okay, all right. Pretty good again. Action replay.
Yeah, no, it almost
Yeah, that's quite nice.
fades into the face.
Last two have been really good. Numbers are in
Yeah.
a good spot. Both the swings were really good as well. So a fair reflection of the setup, that I think. Just take the Taylormade out because that didn't come out. couple here. It's just that one kicked the spin up and a bit of a reaction. That was the first one you hit with it. Take him out. The rest of them pretty much in the same sort of wheelhouse as where we are with the others, to be honest with you. So it comes down a little bit at that point to visually what you like the look of, what you like the feel of, which is the one that gives you the most confidence over the shot. This is kind of what we find when we start getting into the fit and we've nailed down the shaft and we've nailed down the swing weight. They all start to perform pretty similarly, to be honest with you. And then it comes down a little bit to what the player prefers the look of, face angle, visuals, feel off the face.
Visually, I quite like this one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
like it's slightly bigger head, but
yeah,
it's still
shallower.
performing the same sort of TSR3.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, just taking, if I take out that one there, it's just kicked up a little bit. And then if I go into the table and look at it side by side, kind of where we are there. So pretty similar between the two. 1 mile an hour more ball speed out of the ParaDym, a hair more spin over the course of the shots that you hit. 249, 265, very, very similar. This is obviously in the D1 setting, so I had this lofted down ever so slightly. That's how it performs, the TSR in the 15-degree A1 setting.
So that was pretty similar then?
Yeah, it's pretty close between the two of them, to be honest with you. Let me throw on. So we've got the triple diamond here, which is, this is technically closer to the TSR3, so throw him on. Can be quite a difficult club to fit 3-wood, especially for better players.
Yeah. Well, also I just don't really hit mine. There's like probably the most 3-woods I've hit all year. So.
Good practice then. But just typically for players, they want it to do a particular job, and you'd probably say in the bags of most you know, PGA Tour guys, the 3-wood is more often than not is the oldest club in the bag, because they found something that fits the bill, does what they want, and therefore they don't feel like they have to swap it in and out every season. You know. On the right side. So you definitely notice this is a bit more compact. There we go. So this is the ParaDym Triple Diamond.
That's a bit low on the base. So
I've just got that in the standard setting again, 15 degrees on it. That's a nice flight.
Yeah, that's nice.
Again, the difference here is with the Triple Diamond, centre of gravity is more forward because they split it, so pushes that centre of gravity more forwards, makes it a little bit lower spin naturally, but obviously with the forward CG, MOI is lower as well, so it's not quite as stable as the stock ParaDym. Similar sort of story to TSR2 and TSR3 really. More forward CG, lower spin potential, but MOI is also down because of that. nice though. That's kind of where we want the numbers to be.
Yeah,
We want
even
them to
though I
be all
didn't
day.
quite catch that one again, but
Head size wise and profile?
it doesn't seem too much difference.
No?
No. I mean, it just feels like the ParaDym, the normal one's got a different, slightly different groove pattern, doesn't it?
Yeah, on the face, yeah, visually when you look down.
So it
on
looks slightly deeper on the other one, but
Yeah, yeah, I mean just to pop that on there for you just so you can look down on it. Obviously it hasn't got the chevron at the front there as
yeah,
well.
that just looks slightly deeper, this one, but
Yeah,
it's not too bad. Bit left.
close the face down on that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Just looked like you closed the face a little bit at address there. That was all that was, I think. Let's go one more with it. Definitely getting your freewood practice in for the season anyway. Oof, good ball speed.
Nice.
It's nice. Again, it's fitting the bill. The carry and the total distance are in a good spot for us. That one there just because it was a little bit more down in terms of the angle of attack, spin just crept up just a fraction, but it's still.
Do you think there's much difference between this and the normal ParaDym or not, in terms of numbers?
Wise, between the two of them, you can kind of see there. So, actually, if anything, based on the strikes, a hair more out of the standard ParaDym. The spin's definitely down a little bit with the triple diamond.
Yeah.
So they're doing the jobs that you would expect them to do, really. Triple D just lowers the spin just a fraction, which I think for yourself will probably be preferable out of the two, and that's why we did gravitate towards the TSR3, and I think I'd probably gravitate towards that for you as the better player as well. Just think because off the tee you'd appreciate that a little bit more as well, a little bit more compact. But again, you know, I'll always work with the player on it. If you prefer the shape and the look of the standard ParaDym, then we have different ways of getting that product to work for you. But yeah, they're basically doing the jobs that you'd expect them to do. There's 200-300 RPM different between the two heads, effectively. Shaft still looks in a good spot. Quite happy.
Yeah,
with it.
shaft's good.
D2's in a good swing weight. So, any preference between the two of them, or that, or the Titleist?
So probably the Callaways.
Okay.
There's not too much difference between the two, but maybe just like if I was hitting off the tee, probably a triple diamond I'd be more confident with.
Yeah. Okie dokie. And this is the Ping. Final option for you. So we spent a bit more time on the fairway wood here, but because the driver was good, we've made the most of the fitting time. So.
I only got the driver in December, I think. So.
Yeah, and it performed really nicely. The numbers were in a good spot, so I didn't feel like there was any tweaking required there per se. So they've got two different heads. They've got the Max and they've got the LST version as well. This is the Max that we've got here.
Always been slightly put off by the sound of the ping.
Okay.
But that's how it goes.
Just dropping a slightly lighter weight in here to get it to our swing weight. That standard weight there, the 12 grams, it was just, this would be swinging at D5, which you see when we go higher, it doesn't suit you, so just dropped a slightly lighter weight in there. That's nice, that's good where that is now. Okay, so yeah, that's the Ping G430 MAX head. 15 degrees.
But the thing, you can argue there's a little bit more account of thing versus the tightest thing slightly the old one there, the stuff also. Yeah.
Just in its standard setting for you. Swinging it deep.
Yeah, I mean, the only one
2.
I think that maybe is like,
All right, good to go. Definitely a slightly higher pitched acoustic out of the Ping. No two ways about it. Just a little bit low on the head with those two.
So it's just in that window a little bit more regular. It's not.
Again, like we've seen throughout the session, TSR2, standard ParaDym, G430 MAX. These heads are doing what they're designed to do. Really, they're offering a little bit more spin for you. So again, that's there. Was a good, looked like a good swing. Strike on the face was a bit low, so you know I'd expect spin to be up a fraction. But again, I think the triple diamond and the TSR3, they just control that spin rate a little bit better out of that particular strike point for you. What are your thoughts on that head?
Like when I hit it, I'm starting to feel where I'm hitting it from.
Hard to feel.
Yeah, so like that one felt more middled.
Okay.
Obviously, it's quite low on the face still.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that was toey.
Toey?
Yeah.
Yeah, just drops that spin down a fraction. One thing you give the Ping product where it's great sometimes in the higher handicap guys' hands is just forgiveness across the face.
Yeah.
And definitely because of the shallower profile of the head, a little bit easier for the guys to pick off the deck who aren't as competent or confident as yourself hitting fairway wood off the floor, you know. That's where this head can be really good for us as fitters.
I will say that it's like nice to hear. That's why I'm not the more.
But it's definitely a little bit shorter. Again, I know that wasn't his best strike, but it's definitely not. It hasn't quite got the ball speed for you that we were seeing at the TSR3 and the triple diamond as well. So let me throw in the LS Tech version of it.
Yep.
Again, I just wanted to cover all the bases by hitting through all of them as we had a bit more time. Now again, this as a head is just designed to take a bit more spin off of it again.
And where I've been with Ping before, it's something different, I get it.
Yeah, I think it's ultimately it's just you just but I think good if you get it right.
Yeah.
Miss it once.
Slightly more compact design. Typically, probably see a few more LS Techs in the bag on tour.
Yeah. So good things about the drivers.
Yeah, I mean the driver series have been fantastic this year. The Max and the LS Tech and the SF Tech for that matter. I think they've nailed it with that product. For me, anyway, I think it's been the most consistent on all categories: forgiveness, spin, launch, retention of ball speed. It's probably been the best on the rack this year for me as a fitter, anyway. There's a lot of good product out there this year because everybody's launched at the same time. But yeah, I do think it's fitted quite a wide array of golfers, the G430 range this year. The fairway woods, as I say, because of the profile, they're typically good for guys who maybe aren't quite confident hitting fairway wood off the deck. But yeah, see what you think of this one. So this is the G430 LST. Again, 15 degrees, set at 15. 43 degrees, D2. 43 inches, and then D2 swing weight. Very nice. Good swing.
Good start.
Yeah. Oof, and again. Can't argue those two so far. Quite as sweet as the first
Quite
two.
so good. Still not bad.
Yeah. Visually looking down on the head, how do you feel about that one?
Looks quite nice actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit more compact than the Max.
The Max, when I addressed it, it looks like it was going to go left to me.
Yeah, this face angle.
This looks,
a bit more neutral.
yeah.
Yeah. Definitely taking a little bit of, I mean that one there I think just strike dependent, but it's taking a bit of spin off the ball going into this. Interesting. Interesting one there. I wouldn't have called that strike, I have to say.
No.
I would have thought that was potentially a little bit higher than that based on where the spin number is. Previous one to that was great. Really good, Callum.
Surprised me a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Throwing the cat amongst the pigeons, hasn't it? But it's, yeah, 12.4 and 2.9. That's kind of what we've been asking for throughout the session. Not giving anything away on the ball speed as well. It's 155. And the numbers in terms of the carry and the total are exactly where we want it again. So, yeah.
Doesn't feel like it can go as far offline.
No, well, I mean, you know, that's one thing they do specialise in, the Ping products, is just high MOI,
Yeah.
really stable product across the face. That's something I've noticed with the drivers, particularly toe strikes, just the retention of ball speed and control of spin has been superb this year. And I mean, yeah, that, even in your hands, that surprised me a little bit. It's how well that's performed right there. You'd have to say so far, numbers-wise and
That's probably the
dispersion-wise,
best.
it's the best. Yeah, yeah. Quite as middle, but it'd be good to see what it does. Definitely bringing the spin number down for you, interestingly enough. But even those two, you know, I mean, that's playable.
It's not that far offline, is it?
No, not really, not comparatively. You're looking at around maybe 12 yards there, 13 yards left.
Is there any other new products that you waiting on? Other than the
Taylormade 790s and wedges and Callaway with their open.
yeah, Graphite.
They'll be like
Tells that's potentially a little bit of toe strike in there. No, pretty centred again. Again, I wouldn't have called that one. Looked to me like it was going to be a slightly shallower. Doing a good job of controlling the dynamic loft. Yeah, I mean, just as a head, it's definitely bringing the spin down for you. If we look at the table so far, you can see there you've averaged 2.7, which is, it's dropped it quite a lot, but
You maybe want a bit more than that, or
Well, I mean, if I'm being picky, I want 3,000 off the deck, and then I want sort of 2.7 to 2.8 off of a tee. You do have the ability. I mean, how do you feel about that face angle? You do have the ability to knock the loft up a fraction with it, but I think for yourself, it's not very often that you hit one where the spin is super low.
yeah,
I think the bad shot for you would be something where actually you probably.
if you took out the last one I hit, what would the spin be for that? That was quite low on that one, wasn't it?
That one there at 2.3, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll drop him out. 2.8.
2.8, okay.
It's in a nice spot. It's
Yeah.
definitely the lower spin of all the heads that we've hit so far. Ball speed's really good on it as well. I mean, that's including a couple of the slight misstrikes in there. Give a take out those two. It's at 154, which is really strong. So again, the more velocity you've got on the ball, the less spin you technically need. So and you're averaging 105, so it's definitely not on the low side of flight, but it's lower than sort of what some of the other setups have been. ParaDym TD was at 110. Got there, TSR3 was at 105, so it's coming out launch-wise the same as what the others are.
Yeah.
But it is a fraction longer. I mean, if you look at where we were with the TSR3, 248, 267, and then ParaDym Triple Diamond 249, 266, and then you jump up all of a sudden. Definitely a little bit more carry out of it. I mean, I have deleted a couple of missed strikes out of there, so sort of influence the numbers a little bit. If I go back into there, I mean, we're still looking at 253, so it's the longest by 6 or 7 yards that we've hit today. So you'd have to say numbers-wise, that's been the strongest performer of the bunch so far.
Surprising, I'll be honest. But
it doesn't surprise me because obviously we deal with the product every single day. But I think if you've hit ping product in the past, you haven't gotten on with it. Sometimes you can have a preconception when somebody throws it into your hands.
yeah, I like just the difference between this and the other ping one that I had. That spun so much.
Yeah,
and I wasn't hitting it great.
The Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go on to this one.
Yeah, and that's
like
why they've created it, and they do generally within their product ranges, they have that difference in terms of spin and launch profile. So yeah, I think the numbers are suggesting, as long as you obviously would be happy with it, that would be, so far, that's the strongest performer of the bunch. So
I think so.
absolutely, and I'd be more inclined to go down that route where you're averaging sort of 2.8, 2.9 with the spin, rather than something where you're at 3.5 and then you're still having to try and knock a bit of spin off of it per se. For you, because if anything, when you do get one low on the face, which tends to be your bad contact, that's where the spin kicks up a little bit. So that head just seems to be controlling it a little bit more. Just going to give you that little bit of additional distance, and also dispersion wise, pretty good. Pretty good. Nothing particularly offline. What I do like is, since we've gone into that shaft, we've taken the big miss out to the right. Pretty much completely out of play. So in terms of the weight and the balance of that, it's helping you square it up really nicely. So
yeah, I think
it's a pretty good spot. Did you want to try any of the others just to sort of reconfirm?
I don't think so. I think the numbers kind of say enough.
For itself, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think as well, I think the first shot was probably the one where you turned around and I think you were a bit surprised yourself by how good it felt off the face on that one.
No, it doesn't sound as bad as
no, it's different construction, the LS Tech. So it came out later in the year. You know, it's a pretty heavy duty setup, that one, Callum. Don't get me wrong, but as a better player, it's the kind of club that you could have in your bag now for years and years. So I'll put a spec together for it and send that over to you, and then we can pick it up from there basically. In terms of if you're happy with the 2 iron, then all good. If you want, I mean, the options would be, you've got 5 wood in that, which would be about 18 degrees, would play about half an inch shorter. And you've obviously got hybrid as well, which they've got a 17 degree and they've got a 19 degree. So 2 hybrid tends to be about 17 degree, 3 hybrid tends to be about 19 degree. But it might be a case of maybe, now that you've got a 3 wood that you can play with, go out on the course and play with that. And then if you feel like there's another gap in there with the hybrid, maybe come back, revisit us, and we can maybe put something together as a bit of an option against the 2
iron. I feel like the 2 iron's pretty versatile.
Yeah,
I can still launch it quite high.
Yeah. Okay. In which point, just the 3 would be good today then.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Thanks very much.
Together for you. No worries at all. All good. Glad we got there with that.